Used to sit next to Jack, courtside at the Lakers games. Not bad, huh?
Another
Just
floppy
need a
hat.
floppy hat. Floppy
Wow.
hat and a white beard. You could be Lou Adler.
All right. I believe you. What was his claim to fame? Is that his claim to fame, or was he an agent? Was he a producer?
He's probably the greatest rock era producer of the past 60 years.
Okay.
Fine print in some people's world. Out here, he is celebrating the 50th anniversary of the opening of the Roxy Theater.
Oh.
ROXY. All you millennials, Gen Z, it's in your phone. Look it up. Lou Adler. His son is Cisco Adler, whose music I recommend. It's very G-Love and special saucy. For those of you who are into that lazy Southern swingy rock kind of thing. An almost as obscure name is it doesn't come any more current than a current events quiz like this. Carlos de Oliveira. You'll recognize that almost quicker than you would Lou Adler. Who is Carlos de Oliveira? When I first heard the name minutes ago, which is when this story broke, I thought it might be a left-hander from the Dominican that the Dodgers traded for just under the deadline.
I thought it might be one of Messi's new teammates on Miami.
That's another great guess. No, he's a maintenance guy at Mar-a-Lago who helped delete some surveillance video and started the pool. He drained the pool so there would be a flood that would soak or cause the documents to be moved. And now he's been named the third defendant in the Mar-a-Lago documents case. Remember that name, Carlos de Oliveira.
Well, Trump is always threatening to drain the pool, so I guess that makes sense.
The records, as they're being relayed to the media now, say that Trump spoke with de Oliveira last year for 24 minutes, and I think I know why. Here's a billionaire talking to a maintenance guy.
Okay.
I'm guessing it took 24 minutes because Trump understands no Spanish and Carlos speaks no English. Carlos drained pool like boss asked? Oh, Carlos, no drain pool. Awful wet. Really hot. Carlos should drain pool. This goes on for like 24 minutes. That's my guess.
Okay.
Otherwise, if I didn't know better, I think there was some sort of conspiracy afoot. So, how is everybody?
Good. Hot. It's hot here.
Very tropical.
It's the Bob and Kel CleverCast for the week of July 27th, brought to you by, in part by, the incorporated city of Los Angeles. Welcome to LA. We hope you like Mexicans. And by Bladder Beer, the beer that goes right through you. In Roxen 10, erection gel. A little dabble do ya. I stole that from Brill Cream. At Roxen, we feel that a good man is hard to find. Better yet, a hard man is good to find.
Yes.
And finally, brought to you by the all-new Mitch McConnell 10-minute workout.
Goodness gracious.
Here's how you do it. Now, I swear to you, I've tried it, and it will leave you feeling cleansed and serene for the rest of the day. Look to your left for 30 seconds. Say nothing. Fix your gaze on a particular object. Say nothing for 30 seconds. Then go to the right and do the same thing for 30 seconds. Don't say anything. Just freeze as if you're having a seizure or stroke of some kind in public while you're talking to the media. And then back to the left and do that 10 times. And that is the Mitch McConnell 10-minute workout.
Have they said what it was, or are they just, everybody I've read has said it was nothing?
Everybody with public health problems, they don't want to let you know what the problem is. They're willing to have the problems in public, or have the problems months ago and then tell you, oh, I've been to hell and back, man, like Jamie Foxx. He won't tell you what he had.
Right.
This is a perfect opportunity for him to advocate, to send, like a cautionary tale out there and help people who are suffering from the same thing, depending on what it is, who get through it, but he won't tell us what it is.
Maybe the aliens got him. I heard there's aliens.
That's another big story, but fortunately, the news gets to a certain point where you just have to draw the line.
Right.
You
It's a
know,
fine line between that and the National Enquirer, you know? Or
I've
no,
got an illegal alien in Mar-a-Lago draining a pool to endanger, sensitive classified documents. This is
you don't have
this
time
is the
for
last thing
regular
I need.
aliens. Yeah,
The
real
last thing I
aliens.
need are aliens.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I think Jamie Foxx's deal was something called, perhaps you've heard of it, but then I thought you'd heard of Lou Adler.
Uh,
Sepsis.
sepsis. I have heard
Sepsis
that.
is when bacteria from a trouble spot in the body is scattered throughout the internal organs, endangering them,
Right.
and then causing terrific emotional harm too. This happened to me for a couple of weeks in June of last year. My experience with it was probably only 2 months tops, whereas Jamie Foxx's problem was supposedly 3 months. I've been to hell and back. Really? What did you have that sent you to hell and back? Would you please just give us a little hint? Maybe a couple of syllables and let us go from there. Let us buy a vowel and you can put the letters up and let us guess that way. I don't understand the secrecy. You got a chance to be a real spokesman for good here. So you should, take it. What the hell? It could translate to moviegoers once the strikes are over. Who knows? Anyway,
Maybe he just
the
wanted to get out of going.
sepsis.
Yeah, maybe he just
I'm
wanted to get
sorry.
out. Maybe he just wanted to get out of standing in a picket line, a hot picket line.
I don't see Jamie Foxx as standing in a hot picket line, actually. I could be wrong. I don't think there would be any recriminations if he successfully avoided it, but he just doesn't strike me as the picket line type.
Right.
That maybe there's someone standing in his place at the picket line, like there are for the award shows, where there are
Oh,
placeholders, where there are people to sit in their seats until they
yeah.
can get there.
I like that kind of gig. That'd be
With
fun.
sepsis, you become very emotional at the strangest, most mundane time. I remember staggering outside, whether it was with a walker, a wheelchair, during a very shaky recovery after the hospital stay.
Mhm.
And the colors are reversed. The sky is yellow and the sun is blue. And tears are streaming down your face. You don't understand why. And my body was this barber pole swirl of red that I had to uh, go to the doctor about, and they shot me full of steroids and had to get rid of it that way. Sepsis is the only thing I can come up with that Jamie Foxx went through, but won't say anything about. So I've devoted just about all the time thinking about it that I can. There are too many other important things happening,
How
like
long
the
have you,
dream I had. I had since we last saw each other, I had a strange dream, and this was like 20 or 30 years ago. I was listening to the radio. Do you remember those Paul Harvey rest of the story features on KSTP?
I do.
Remember how that would go? He would give you the story, he would break for a commercial, he would come back, he would finish the story, and the punchline would always be, and now you know the rest of the story.
Rest of the story. Yep.
Right? You're
Yep.
familiar with that?
Yep. I listened to it on W. John in St. Cloud, WJON.
In this dream, I'm listening to Paul Harvey tell my sertraline story from last week.
Huh.
And wouldn't you know, Bob Yates finds out that sertraline is used in the treatment of, he would always do that pregnant pause and that kind of like imperceptible chuckle in the background. Premature ejaculation, and now you know the rest of the story. That's a frightening dream. You have to wake yourself up to shake free of it.
That's a deep cut as far as dreams go. I mean, I don't think anybody, national podcasts, any type of program is talking about Paul Harvey at this moment.
Paul Harvey was a legend for
Yeah.
at least half century, at the same time that Lou Adler was a legend.
Right.
But Lou Adler is now 89 years young, and Paul Harvey has been pushing up daisies for, what would you say, 20 years? Hey,
Oh, at
speaking
least.
of mortality, we lost Tony Bennett, as you know.
We did.
I don't know what happened to the era when, if a recording artist dies, I immediately dive for my radio to find stations who play Tony Bennett music to see
Right.
if they're playing wall-to-wall Tony Bennett the way 40 years ago when John Lennon died, it was wall-to-wall John Lennon for days on end, right?
Well,
I couldn't even find call letters
hmm.
to New York stations to find out what formats played Tony Bennett and who was playing him, and I couldn't find anybody that was.
A station in
So,
San Francisco, perhaps, left my heart there.
well, you should mention that when Paul Kantner of Jefferson Airplane died a few years ago, I went to some San Francisco stations to see if they were playing wall-to-wall Jefferson Airplane,
Right.
and no, there's
Nearly.
no appetite for that anymore. Apparently, I don't get it.
So where would I go if I wanted the latest Sinead O'Connor song?
The
She's
current. What's
oh,
it?
the
The
current
current,
hit.
The
that's a
current.
very good in the Twin Cities. That would be the current. Or is there still a Cities 97?
Ah,
But
I
yeah, the
know they
current.
don't. I know they don't put out their compilation CDs anymore because CDs don't fly. But yeah, Cities 97.
Well,
I don't know.
seems like those CDs were sold in coffee shops anyway, right?
Yeah.
I don't know whether they got widespread distribution, but my Sinead O'Connor confession is that the Prince song that she did, "No One Compares to You," is
Mm.
the only Sinead O'Connor song I've ever heard.
Indeed.
But I just know that she was totally right to do what she did on Saturday Night Live 30 years ago,
Right.
because you know how I feel about that real enemy that she cited. It's one of the Mount Rushmore of villains globally. So
Hmm.
she was ahead of her time, but mainly because she grew up in an abusive home. Her mother was physically, verbally, sexually abusive of her. Um, I don't know specifically in the service of the Catholic Church or not, but that didn't sit well with young Sinead back in those days, and it formed her as an artist. A tragic life. I mean, your 17-year-old son commits suicide. If my children had died of anything at that age, I would just be a puddle on the floor. I would be molecules. You'd have to mop me up.
Same here.
And then we lost Bo Goldman, a fantastic screenwriter. Melvin and Howard, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Shoot the Moon, a bunch of great movies he wrote the scripts for. So we got to send out his posthumous props as well. And on a life affirming note, today was a day for the unicorn. Breakfast with the unicorn this morning at 10 o'clock. Ohtani starting in Detroit. First game of a doubleheader, complete game, one hitter. Yawn, another day at the office. And then in game two, 2 for 3, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. And now you know what all the fuss is about.
Well, are you surprised that they I guess not surprised that they pulled him off the trading block now. You got to keep the best player in the majors, right?
I had not heard that I'd not heard of Giolito enough to be impressed with that acquisition, but I do think that Carlos de Oliveira will help them. We need a second closer.
I heard the
I'm
Twins.
rooting for Angels and for my son-in-law's favorite team since he was a child, because he grew up in Baltimore. His favorite team are the Orioles.
Huh.
And so I root for the Orioles and for the Angels.
What about your sidekick and your producer's favorite team, the Minnesota Twins? Don't
I
you?
root for everyone on the Twins except the cheater known as Correa.
He's playing well lately. I don't know if you heard the Twins made a trade. They traded the guy from the Orioles that they picked up a couple years ago now, Jorge Lopez. Got another reliever for him, I guess. But I guess they were upset with Jorge because he was on the disabled list for emotional issues lately. Isn't that an odd thing to be on the DL for nowadays?
Well, I've noticed a proliferation of paternity leave among the
Yes.
players, Buxton among them. Now, if this happened in the NBA decades ago, would Sean Kemp get every other week off?
Yeah. Or what about Cromartie for the Chargers, right? The
Yeah.
defensive back for the Chargers. He had quite
How would you like to have been Sean Kemp on a Father's Day back then? The phone rings. Who is this? Sean Kemp had a lot of illegitimate children. That's the joke for those of you who
Yes.
don't recognize the name Sean Kemp. Where the hell have you people been? Have two new books to report, so consider this a book report. This is Elizabeth Winder or Wender's Parachute Women. It's the women who formed the Rolling Stones, the ex-wives and girlfriends, Anita Pallenberg and Marcia Hunt and Bianca and Jerry Hall, and all the women who made the Stones what they are, I don't know, in bed or backstage or what, I don't know. But
That's cool.
it's a decent book and it's got some great pictures. Thought that practice had fallen out of favor, putting pictures in nonfiction books, but lots of nice pictures. And then this is the latest from J. Randy Taraborelli. Those of you who are Bob's Radio Basics scholars will recognize his name. He is the author, or was the author in 1991 of the first definitive biography of Michael Jackson. J. Randy Taraborelli was interviewed by yours truly on KSTP in the year 1991, and now he's back. Many books happened since then, obviously, but the name of the book is Jackie, Public, Private, Secret.
Wow.
This is Jackie O. And already a fun fact that will wow you, I'm sure, is that Lee Radziwill, Princess Lee Radziwill, Jackie's sister, was married in the year 1959, and within a year of her wedding day, she was conducting a secret affair, of a sexual nature, with the man who later became Jackie's second husband, Aristotle Onassis.
Wow.
How about that as a fun fact?
How
You
about
won't hear
that
that
now,
every
man?
day.
Yeah.
A little known fun fact.
I wonder if they'll ever do a mini series. Maybe they have, and I missed it. About have they done something like a 10 episode or several season thing about the Kennedys, just Camelot or whatever you want to call it, like they have
I
done
have
with
to
the
believe something
Crown.
like that is out there. She alone has been fodder for, so much tabloidish type reporting and faux history documenting that I got to believe there's something like that out there about her
I mean, that
or
family
about
is
the
about as
family.
close to royalty as this country has, so I would imagine there's got to be something Crown-like.
J. Randy Taraborelli is kind of you remember Kitty Kelly?
Yeah.
Kitty Kelly used to be the celebrity biographer who was always so controversial. And I think he's replaced her that way. What are you drinking, incidentally?
Quilmes, the beer of Argentina, my friend.
Oh, dear God. Um, are you
Delicious.
still considered a citizen of the United States?
Oh, I'm a dual citizen. No, I'm
Are
kidding.
you
I'm just no, my kids
okay?
are. But I'm just ordinary U.S. citizen, but I love it.
A couple of doors down from us, a family has just left the premises for good. We heard through the grapevine to go where the wife is from, Alabama. Whether it's for love, for business, for vacation, for any reason, would you consider relocating to Alabama?
No, no, I would not. Alabama just doesn't appeal to me. I mean, I don't know.
There is perfume on that pig. In Huntsville, there's a space program, and there's Muscle Shoals, the recording studios, and there's
Yeah.
probably a nice beach on the coast somewhere. Man, this is Alabama. This is this is the original slave state.
Oh
South
yeah.
Carolina, which you're due to visit, only dreams of being Alabama someday when it comes to cruelty toward black people.
I've read of a bunch of plantations I can tour and slave quarters I can check out. It'll be something else. They say it's beautiful.
What about the church where the bodies fell, where Dylan Roof killed the worshipers? Do they give you a tour of that by any chance?
They don't mention that's not in the fine print. No, no.
Folks, if you're going to visit or relocate to an original slave state, why don't you kill two birds with one stone? Go to Europe, as I plan to spend a month in Europe from now on per year, and tour Auschwitz and Bergen-Belsen and Treblinka, because those are the sites of slavery, just as our original slave states are, except they throw in the Cyclone B. They throw in the gas, that they used to kill the 6 million. And That'll be click up your your heels
Fun and games.
travelogue time.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama. I I didn't want to believe that I heard him right. I heard him engaged in conversation outside my kitchen window. And so when the partner came in to tell me what she'd learned, I said, "Did I hear right? Are they going to?" And she actually didn't even say the word. She just went, she didn't say it out loud. She mouthed the word Alabama. Can you imagine trading Los Angeles for Alabama? My God in heaven. And and this is what? Is this for conjugal privileges of some sort? The whole happy life, happy wife thing was always lost on me. As a result, I was not and would never be as good as at marriage as you guys. My experience at KSTP and the conditions for my dismissal from that place were proof that I don't take orders very well, and especially from women. If I'm told that I need to move to Alabama to satisfy a woman, I get on Amazon and I check out the AVN products and I purchase an artificial vagina and I settle for that for the rest of my life because I'm not going to Alabama to satisfy a woman. I don't care if she has borne my 3 kids, which was the case in the instance yesterday. They drove away in 2 or 3 vehicles, driving to Alabama during an historic heat wave. And then when you get there, guess where you are? You're in Alabama.
Yes, I agree. It is a trip we make.
I have a
The
fun
other
fact for you.
book that I meant to bring up that I have returned to the library and can't display today is a book about the life of Maria Schneider, co-star of Last Tango in Paris, 1972. And it's told by her much younger cousin because Maria Schneider died a few years ago. And it was translated from the French by brat packer Molly Ringwald, who, as it turns out, is quite the intellectual and has gotten high marks for her translation of this book. And here's a fun fact for you. Just before I closed the book for the final time and returned it in the big steel bin at the Malibu Library, I found out that in the year 1973, 2 people had to be separated on a commercial airliner because they couldn't keep their hands to themselves. He had a big crush on her. They repaired to the restroom where there were familiarities exchanged and in the seats and rows.
Oh,
It was an international incident starring Maria Schneider, co-star with Brando of Last Tango in Paris,
mm-hmm.
and Mr. Bob Dylan.
Wow.
Now you know the rest of the story.
All of your kind of, your expose type stories always seem to end with Dylan. Boy, he got around back in the day.
When I come back, if there's such a thing as reincarnation, I want to be named the operator of the Bob Dylan penis cap. So I can see it go into the darkness and out into the light, darkness, light, and then high speed and then slowing down and maybe hear the instructions as to the speed and the angle. And either him or Roger Vadim, who was with, I think, how does this go? Bardot, Deneuve, Fonda. Boom. How would you like to have that on your resume?
It's quite a one.
Mr. Argentina
punch.
bon vivant.
Yes. I see most of the books you're reading right now are female based. That's great.
And nonfiction.
And I've got one
Because
right here.
fact is stranger than fiction.
This is the one I'm up to right now. Chrissy Hines bio, Reckless.
Does she mention in there why she spent some time in the past? Let's see, I'll say they hit it bigger on 1980. She struck me as a big crumper and not complaining at all that Rush Limbaugh was using her song Ohio as the intro for his show for many years. Does
Oh,
she say anything about her political leanings in that
I,
book?
I just started. I finished the Bera book, and now I'm onto this one. So I'm really just past her childhood. So I'm not that far into it yet.
How
Well, before that.
when you get a book like that, how soon do you go immediately back to the index and let the index guide you through the book according to the people that you're interested in who are mentioned alphabetically in the book? Do you do that?
I am very, I don't know what I would say I am, but I only read it. I read it straight through. I don't jump around.
So if you wanted to read about Martin Honeyman Scott's suicide as a member of the Pretenders,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't go to the
Uh,
S's, to the
oh, wait.
Scotts. You want to come upon that information organically.
I treat it like a television show or a movie. I won't watch. Why would you watch the ending? I would always wait till the ending, the proper time to watch it.
You see, I'm into instant gratification being 20
Well,
years older than you are. I don't have that much time left with which to read entire biographies cover to cover. I like little shortcuts that
mhm.
devices like the index will provide me.
It's very Fred Sanford of you. Bless your heart.
You old weasel-eyed heathen, I wish you hadn't brought it up. Also, in the um, documentary nonfiction department, did you know that middle of next month, I believe it's Netflix, the Depp Heard
Yeah.
trial will be reenacted in documentary fashion.
I found that out from my 20-year-old daughter. She told me, "Did you hear this is coming to watch?" She's very excited to see it. So I'm surprised. Does it hit hard with the Gen Zers? I'm kind of amazed. I could kind of
My
care.
my sister, who's very tabloid news conscious about the celebrities, followed it every day on the Court Channel or True TV or whatever it was. Very pro-Depp, very anti-Heard, blamed the woman, and of course we disagreed, but I just don't see how a woman remains married to a man who drinks wine at 9 in the morning. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think I would have done what I could to get out of that before blows were exchanged.
It's strange. Every kind of thing defines a generation. You know, the man landing on the moon, JFK assassination. Where were you when? But now it's going to be the O.J. Simpson trial, 9/11. Now for this generation, it's the Heard Depp trial.
Also, there's going to be a Leonard Bernstein movie come out with Bradley Cooper as Leonard Bernstein called Maestro.
Oh,
So that's going to be interesting. I'm not into biopics usually. I'd rather see a documentary. But the Depp Heard thing, I'm willing to experience again with the benefit of hindsight and behind the scenes stuff that you didn't see while it was going on. Also, Only Murders in the Building, Emmy and Golden Globe nominated with that great trio of Martin Short and Steve Martin and Selena Gomez is hits the airwaves in another 12 days on Hulu. Looking forward to that.
well, now that's not a never for you because I feel like that's pretty critically acclaimed and a lot of people watch it, but it's not a never for you.
Their chemistry is just so outstanding, and her breasts are so enormous that I can't not watch.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was my son's first journey into I don't know how you would say this, self, I would say self gratification, but I'm not sure. He Googled Selena Gomez boobs when he was like maybe 9 years old. And
And
that
that a
was
search term, use it
yeah,
as a search term,
yes.
and what came up.
I don't know. I guess I kind of let the boy be himself and find out his own answers.
Actually, I was using a double entendre there, which you didn't catch, but I assume I can guess what came up.
Yes, I suppose you can.
She's become quite the little actress. I don't understand with that tinny speaking voice of hers how she could have hit records.
All right.
But I don't understand how artists of the last 10 or 20 years. I don't understand the tendency to want to listen to them. As you know, one of my nevers is Taylor Swift, and I've
Hmm.
never heard a Taylor Swift song
Wow, and that's
and
hard to
refused
do
to.
because that woman is everywhere.
My one of my nevers may be about to fall. I just want to warn you that I've already become so moribund over the loss of Better Call Saul. I'm 4 episodes away from ending it. That I've actually been trying to convince myself to continue the chronology, this
Ah,
being a prequel, continue the chronology with Breaking Bad. I went to IMDb to read more about it. As you know, I feel that cancer is a lame character trait in fiction.
yes.
The goatee is visually off-putting to me. Meth, I have no, backstory with meth.
The
So I
pork
go
pie
to
hat, the pork
IMDb.
pie hat.
What you mean, like this one, like my Lou Adler hat?
Not quite. A little smaller than that.
So I go to IMDb, and on top of all that lame layering of character traits, is this true? Um, what's the lead actor's name? Bryan
Bryan Cranston.
Cranston. His character has a disabled son, or
Yes.
also a terminally ill son. Why do we need that? Why all the disabilities and the terminal illnesses? It just seems so lazy to me as part of a storyline. No one
Yeah.
caught that. No one.
Oh, and
And
plus,
when I was growing up, Ben Gazzara was in a series called Run for Your Life, and every episode, and these were back in the days when installments were all only 30 minutes, not an hour. He had gotten news at the start of the series that he was going to be dead in what, 6 months, let's say, or 2 or 3 seasons in TV speak. And so each week he was out there going for all the gusto he could because he knew that his days were numbered. Does that figure into the storyline?
so I think it's safe to say that part of the reason he breaks bad is because there's really nowhere else to go. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Does that strike you as slightly unoriginal?
yeah, oh yeah, but it's just he said he's a good actor and it's just very well done.
Well, I'll tell you
The
another nudge in that direction for me was seeing him address the SAG-AFTRA and WGA rally in Times Square within the past couple of days. A very passionate speech. Many times we don't know that actors are capable of this because they're only spouting memorized dialogue or stuff they're reading off a wall or a cue card.
mhm.
But this was very eloquent for someone who is, at least I have not known him to, be a talk show guest or an impromptu speaker in a public arena. And I was very impressed. And I'm thinking, is this the nudge I should be feeling toward Breaking Bad? Was I meant to see this, to
I
be
love
so
it.
impressed with this man's social conscience that I should at least try an episode
Yeah.
of the series that he is most known for, other
When
than his stint as a dentist on Seinfeld?
when he shows up in that first episode in his tidy whities, you'll be in love. I trust me. I love
Also,
it.
I think a point in its favor is that Odenkirk is in 43 episodes and Jonathan Banks is in 28 episodes.
Right. Right. It's
I
I,
just
I
I
love
can't
it.
get enough Jonathan Banks because it's so obvious what they do. They write lines for him that are all 7 words long.
Mhm.
That's not the way it's going down. He wants to talk to you. How do you expect me to react?
Boy, you got that
I'm
memory.
going out to the car now. He it was just like almost like a Gary Cooper kind of aw shucks thing, except with authority. You know that at any moment the man could whip out a weapon and lay you low.
Yeah.
He's menacing in that way.
It's crazy. I mean, I love it when your nevers turn to evers. That's my favorite thing in the world.
Well, we'll see how I feel 4 episodes from now, but I can already tell you, and this happens with every series that is 4, 5, 6 seasons long. Like what, a few months ago with Barry's 4 seasons ending, Succession's 4 seasons ending, that I get misty, and I want to replace. It's like a dog. Your dog has died.
Yes.
Many people would just say, "No, I can't handle another dog for the rest of my life," and then other people go, "I need to get a new dog as soon as possible, so I'll have a
Hmm.
companion to love."
Right.
And so I may yet turn to the pilot of Breaking Bad to see what's going on, just to say that I did, and go back on my never pledge.
Wow. It's big news. Big news.
Well, I was wrong about the phone. I said I'll never have a phone, and
Edison's phone?
then and
Graham,
now
yeah,
I have the
Graham's phone.
phone, and I can't do without it. If someone tried to take my phone from me, I can't guarantee their safety.
Ah, yes. So have you been watching World Cup? I see you have your Netherlands shirt on. Did you watch the US
Well,
play
this
last
is this is Netherlands rugby, which I played in Holland as a young man, and injured too many people and had to be sent back to the United States.
So it's just a coincidence that the US and the Netherlands tied on last night.
That was a hell of a game.
Yeah,
I'll
pretty
tell you
good.
something else. Tell you something else about your friend Lionel Messi.
Hmm.
Uh, I thought this. I almost telepathically ordered the story to be written, but somewhere at the New York Magazine platform, there is an article about Messi forcing MLS teams to learn how to play defense. The goal that he scored, the first of the two-goal night, the first goal that he scored,
Hmm.
that pass should not have been possible.
Nope.
Dudes, do you realize who's back here with you? You might want to put two or three people back here. Jose Mourinho would never have allowed this to happen.
Right.
A long pass to run under a long pass, like it's something from the NFL, and then kick in the goal. It would never happen.
The talent between the Premier League and MLS is just night and day. I mean, he's gonna do this. I mean, that's the question: is he enjoy doing this? Does he like love just scoring at will? It's like a high schooler playing a bunch of grade school kids. It's not fair.
That's another question I would like to ask an athlete like Messi or Mbappe or anyone who probably makes more money than they should, given the sacrifices every day of police and sanitation and nurses. How
Hmm.
much money is enough? I would
Oh,
like to ask someone that. How much do you need? How much do you want? What are your plans for this money? Um, what would cause you to retire? What would cause you to spend 1 year in Saudi Arabia? What would cause you to relocate to fucking Alabama?
yeah. Well, everybody has a price, Bob. What would it take to get you? I mean, there's got to be something that would make you move to Alabama. Could we give you $400 million? Would you take that?
You know what? Just off the top of my head, if I knew she were waiting there to spend 30 minutes in a motel with me, Danica Mori,
Oh,
I would drive to Alabama for 30 minutes with Danica Mori, and we could try to simulate, to reenact
yeah.
her amazing kitchen countertop clutching feet.
You could find out the secret of how she's so, balanced, so mobile at the
Ath-
same time.
Athletic,
Yeah.
nimble, agile. That's correct.
There you go. That might see everybody's got their price, and that's yours.
And speaking of price, I couldn't figure out how to word it, so I didn't ask. But we were in a gallery, an art gallery, the other day in Venice, and there was a print, one of 50 that exists in the world. I won't tell you how much it cost, but it was by the great artist David Hockney, who's been at it for 60 or 70 years, and who is no spring chicken, and who we might wake up tomorrow and find out that he has joined Sinead O'Connor on the great unemployment line above. And so I asked, how much is this David Hockney print? One of 50 in the world, I was told. And the question I then wanted to ask, but I didn't want to look crass, was how much would it be worth if he died tomorrow? Would it be worth twice what I paid for it? 3 times? Is it worth buying from that standpoint? Because let's face it, a lot of collectors buy in order to sell later after the artist has died.
Right. There was a whole Seinfeld episode where the George
That's what I thought.
bought
I
him
thought that was sounding familiar just as I was describing it.
It's a Larry
So
David.
there was a Seinfeld episode for that.
Mm-hmm.
My new diabetes doctor in Santa Monica, her last name is Chang. Remember Donna Chang, the Donna
Oh,
Chang
yeah.
episode of Seinfeld?
So she's not Asian.
She's not. No, she is Asian.
Oh,
This one is Diana Chang, but she is Asian. But Donna Chang was not Asian. That was the disappointment to Jerry, and she could see it in his face.
I just rewatched season 10 of Curb with the Spite Store and Mocha Joe. Do you remember those episodes?
Yeah, I remember all the
Yeah.
Seinfeld episodes. I
Well,
can see some
Curb.
people maybe, pardon me, I can see some people maybe getting Seinfeld episodes and Curb Your Enthusiasm episodes mixed up
Yeah, I know exactly.
because of the cringy aspect. Speaking of
Mhm.
cringy, you don't hear a transition like that very often. I appeared before the LA County Board of Supervisors the other day to the rare day session, and with visual aids as well, to pitch my idea for new dynamic looking city limit signs as people enter Los Angeles County from the various major freeways.
Okay.
A right-leaning font, flush left. You couldn't miss it as you entered. Otherwise, you're just going to get the same green sign, right? As Sepulveda exit, right?
Right.
Except this says, "Welcome to Los Angeles. We hope you like Mexicans." That's why I was citing the city of LA as a sponsor a while ago. We're half Mexican. LA County, the size of the state of Ohio, is as brown as the poop that lands in my bowl at 6 a.m.
Ugh, that sounds a
Have we
bit
talked? Have we
uncomfortable.
talked about how amazingly regular I am, or is that too much information?
No, it's good. I'm glad to know it.
I told someone the other day, I think I brought it up. I don't think they drew me out on the subject. I said, I challenge that constipated current president of ours. I can only imagine that he's constipated. He's 80 years old. To a regularity duel at dawn with a side-by-side turlets. And we'll see who finishes the deed earliest. Because I'm 6 to 7 a.m. And when it's over, the entire neighborhood knows because I do this. And the last stain swatch of
Oh,
two-ply is drowned by the Los Angeles sewage system, and the door is closed for another day.
talking about
Regularity.
talking about the president and regularity. Anyway, when the thing I'm always confused at, and I always my mind works in this way. When I think of Hunter Biden, I think of a 20-year-old. I don't know why that is. Everything I've heard about, oh man, that's his kid acting up again. Oh my God, it's his kid with all these problems. The man's almost 60 years old.
I was kind of sympathetic until I found out how he's treating the seventh grandchild and the mother of the seventh grandchild in Arkansas.
Uh-huh.
And it's just not a very Christian thing. Supposedly, that family is this devout Catholic family, and close knit family, whatnot. And he's paying the mother of this child not to say anything, and in throwing money at the kid, in child support.
Mm.
Otherwise, arm's length. And his dad has bought into this too. That's why Maureen Dowd's column of a couple of Sundays ago, Joe, you have 7 grandchildren. You
Yeah.
need to acknowledge this child. Do the right thing. No, Hunter Biden's a dick. I've pretty much decided that he's not worth wringing our hands over. If they want to run him in, fine by me. I have no problem with it.
I worry that's going to be another talking point all the election season, and it's not even worth it. I don't get it. Everybody has. I mean, he's a mess. Anyway,
A final TMI for the podcast today.
TMI.
Too much information,
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
such as regularity. I didn't ask to hear this, but several Sundays ago, the final insult to my intelligence by my former church, the young woman in charge of the Sunday school children, this is the minister of childhood education, took to the pulpit during what I guess she assumed was still Pride Month. Sorry, Pride is June. And, after June is over, we can go back to being, regular gay and straight people. Pride is over. But she took to the pulpit to out herself to the entire congregation, small children included, listening in, probably asking questions later, outing herself as a bisexual. To which I immediately said to myself, thanks for the visual. I see 3 pillows on the bed. I see 3 chairs at a restaurant table. I'm seeing things I shouldn't be seeing because I just heard something I shouldn't be hearing. Why can't we keep this shit to ourselves? I don't understand it. Why does it all have to be in the open? Now, I realize I'm sounding hypocritical because I want Jamie Foxx to tell us what disease he had.
Yeah. It doesn't connect, yes.
But I just don't know that I see bisexuality as a legit lifestyle. This is not like having a vegan meal tonight and a steak dinner tomorrow. This is not like even being a super Jew where you're both a lawyer and a doctor. This is being a bisexual. This is going out with a woman one night and the man the next.
Right.
And taking it the distance if necessary. And I don't understand how that works.
I don't think you do, because you think that there are 3 pillows, and these people they're not. It's one night with a woman, the next night with a man. They only need 2 pillows, Bob.
No, I think that if I were bisexual,
yes,
my fantasy would be another man and a woman.
I think that's called a swinger.
Well, then that brings me to my next question. How close is bisexuality away from polyamory?
Oh, that's a good point.
I personally think it's just gluttony. It's just, anything that moves.
Is that thruple?
Can I fit in there? I'm going to put it in there.
Yeah, thruples, right? They just want the more the merrier.
Didn't Tom Arnold have a 3-way marriage with Roseanne and another woman back in the day?
No, I think you're confused. She was just one woman. Some people thought she was 2, but no, she was a big woman, but just.
So I imagine this. Tom Arnold didn't claim to be married to Roseanne and another woman at the same time.
I don't know. It's probably possible. They were all on drugs.
Well, I'm going to Google anyway to search Carlos de Oliveira, so I'll stop in there, and I'll also use Selena Gomez's breasts as a search term.
Yeah,
just to see what comes up.
I mean, he's just well-adjusted young man. Why not give it a try and see what it does for you?
Bisexuality. Woody Allen used to make jokes about it, that he envied bisexuals because they had twice the chance that he did of rounding up a last-minute date for Friday night. Those were the kinds of jokes that they made about bisexuals back then, and now people are outing themselves to their church from the pulpit about being a bisexual.
That's when you raise your hands and
Hallelujah.
I thought my sepsis had returned when I found a live stream a couple of Sundays ago of the church that checks all the boxes for me, including no insults to my intelligence, such as the one I just related. And tears streamed down my face. My partner will vouch for this. I felt I'd been rescued. I'd been saved, as I was when I was about that high and growing up in a Southern Baptist home.
Mm-hmm.
Shrink wrap your churches, Christians. Keep all the depravities outside. An hour in your church should be like an hour in heaven. And then after it's over, then we can come out and start dealing with the traffic, of the non-believers and blending our way back into public life in the United States.
That's an interesting question. When you attend services, and I know you usually do from home, but when you go to the actual church, do you have conversations? Do you talk to the people, or do you just in and out?
That was one of the encouraging aspects of the live stream that I saw was the passing of the peace has been restored post-COVID, meaning that you rise and embrace and shake hands and high five and fist bump and the whole 9 yards. There's a there's a tactile thing among the congregants. The last time I visited that specific church, the air was taken out of the room shortly before the passing of the peace when Jim Carrey entered the building with his motorcycle helmet.
Oh,
And I had
wow.
to make a point of getting over to him to shake his hand and welcome him to the congregation. We weren't members yet. I will be the only one who is the member. The partner is staying with the church. We are now. They haven't insulted her yet to the degree that they have me, I feel. But yes, the handshakes are back. The offertory is back. The passing of the plate with actual money and pledges and tithes and whatnot. And there's an offertory hymn. There's a doxology after the offertory. All the traditional earmarks of high church are back in this one congregation. And I just felt so grateful to see it after so many insults to my delicate sensibilities by the Presbyterians I had been convening with for 3 or 4 years, that I wept. Shortest verse in the Bible, Jesus wept.
Yes.
Well, Bob wept too. And the partner can vouch for that.
Wow.
So I'm very happy with how this is turning out. And I inquired as to application for church membership by email within the past week. So I'm really looking forward to a place to put all of the earthly desires aside and spend 1 hour in focusing, laser focusing on salvation. Really looking forward to it.
It's fascinating to me because a churchgoer doesn't seem like a typical person I think you'd hang around with, but I guess I'm wrong.
They call it versatility, Kel. They call it intellectual versatility. Perhaps if we get together, if I come to Minnesota
Yeah.
next year to see the new grandchild, I could spend a few minutes with you and show you some ins and outs, show you the ropes of intellectual versatility.
Or perhaps I'll come and visit you and attend church services. And you can introduce me to your friends.
I could have sworn you were going to say, perhaps I can visit you at the old folks' home where you're destined to wind up. So it looks as if Kurt is attempting the Mitch McConnell 10-minute workout. So
That was
I
an
think it's
audible. That was an audible yawn. He basically the screen went to him when he made his little guttural noise. So you're gonna watch Argentina against what are they playing in women's South Africa tonight, 5 o'clock your time, 7 o'clock ours.
I do not have to claim allegiance to any other country in order to get laid.
Come on.
I cannot identify.
It's good soccer.
I cannot identify.
I'm fascinated how Argentina has such an awesome men's team and the women look like they have no clue what's going on. They always make the tournament though, but it's just they're not as
Isn't that strange? It's the exact opposite in the United States.
Yeah.
The women, the men have improved,
right,
but the women haven't lost a game in 12 years. And
True.
they're the ones who had to fight for financial parity, for equal pay.
What do you think this year? Do you think the U.S. is going to take it, or you want the field on this one?
I think if the U.S. doesn't win, that maybe we should resume the ancient Argentinian practice of dropping the team members out of helicopters at high altitudes. Give them the old.
That doesn't sound
give
very
them the old Argentina 1-2, huh?
That doesn't sound very Christ-like. How dare you?
Intellectual versatility. And with that, these final words: don't relocate to Alabama. She's not worth it. Until next week, then.
Bye.
Good day. No, it was a Paul Harvey thing.
I'm sorry. I stepped all over your pregnant paws.